G'day, welcome back to the channel. Here I am, I'm back. First of all, huge thank you to all the people who sent me kind thoughts and wishes through comments, emails and so forth, and the people who have recently signed up to my Patreon or boosted their Patreon support, because that makes all the difference in the world. Fantastic. It's a freedom from having to worry about YouTube and YouTube's rules. In fact, rules are full stop. I've given up. No, forget rules. I've had no time for rules. Rules are what got me here in the first place. Ridiculous rules and regulations that make no sense. Absolutely no sense. In fact, just to prove that, I went on Twitter and I asked the Civil Aviation Authority of New Zealand, please explain to me why it is that if I fly my little foam model to 200 feet above the ground, 3.9 kilometres away from the Tokoroa airfield, and I don't have Model Fly New Zealand wings, and I don't have a visual observer, why is that dangerous? What risk does that flying pose to aircraft that may be taking off or landing from that airfield? Do you know what they said? Absolutely nothing. They ignored me. They ghosted me 3 times. Wouldn't answer that because they know there is no risk involved in that. It's ridiculous. So, as far as I'm concerned, the Council and Civil Aviation Regulations and Model Flying New Zealand's policies make it impossible for me to fly in a manner that is compliant with all those rules. Therefore, when compliance is not an option, the only option is non-compliance. That's where I'm going, that's where I'm headed, that's what I'm going to do. As far as I'm concerned, I will never endanger anybody, and I will never endanger anyone else's property. I give you that solemn undertaking. That's to you, to the public, to CAA, to the Council, to Model Flying New Zealand. I will never endanger anybody or their property. And really, when you think about it, that's why the rules are there in the first place, to avoid endangering people and to avoid endangering property. I can do that. It doesn't mean I'll always be compliant. There may be occasions when I'm not compliant, but I will only be in breach of the regulations when it is safe to be in breach of the regulations. And because the regulations here are almost a decade out of date, there are many occasions when I know I can fly completely safely whilst not being totally compliant. The example of flying to 200 feet, 3.9 kilometres from an airfield without a visual observer and without wings is a perfect example of when it's safe to breach the regulations. So I will be flying at and around the Tokoroa airfield, perhaps, not giving assurances, but I'll probably be flying, places where I shouldn't be flying according to the rules because I can do so safely. Anyone's got a problem, well, that's their problem, it's not mine, honestly. So you can expect to see a lot of interesting videos, but I'm just headed where the rest of the hobby's headed, to be honest. This move to clear us out of the skies in favour of pizza deliveries and mythical unpiloted air taxis, it's all just rubbish. But we're having the skies cleared. We're in the way. We are an inconvenience. Because if we look at what the FAA says, they say, you can't fly BVLOS commercially in the USA unless you have an effective detect and avoid system on your craft. What does that mean? Well, your pizza delivery drone or your pilotless eVTOL air taxi must be able to detect anything that's out there and avoid it. Now, they don't have to worry too much about birds because birds will get out of the way. But recreational drone and model flyers, oh my goodness, you cannot trust them. The only way to be sure you're not going to crash into them, or they're not going to crash into you, is to get rid of them. And that's where we're headed. Clear the skies of all recreational model and drone use, except for those little grassy fields called freers in the middle of nowhere. The UK's bringing in freers, did I tell you? Yeah. I'll do a video on the upcoming UK rules. They're terrible. They are just the thickest end of the wedge we've seen so far. But, as I say, that's going to push everybody else underground. We're all going to have to fly below the radar. And that's where I'm going. I'm going to be flying below the radar. Now, I know that the Council and Civil Aviation will get complaints. People will see my videos. My favourite supporters like Doug and Northland Rider, they will see my videos and they'll fire off emails to CAA. Look, he's broken the rules. Here's the video evidence. And I'll say, yeah, it's fine, great. But I wouldn't recommend either the Council or CAA take any action on the basis of videos they see on my channel. Because as we know, videos don't always represent what actually happened. You've seen my videos. I put a lot of VFX in some of them. There are things in my videos that just did not happen. even the trailers to my videos, there has never been an F-16 takeoff on that airfield. But if you watch my videos, you'll see one. Can't believe everything you see. The burden of proof is a lot higher than a video made by a guy who's proven that he is adept at using visual effects. Also, you can go onto ChatGPT and say, make me a video of a drone flying in front of the South Waikato District Council building, and it'll do it. But it never happened. So if anyone wants to lay a complaint about the videos that I'll be making, suggesting that I've broken the rules, they better be there on the day, on the spot, at the moment it happens, with a first-hand eyewitness report. Videos, they don't count for beans. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And also, in any of those videos, if you're saying that someone or some property is endangered, I want to know what was the registration number of the aircraft that was endangered, what was the name of the people that were endangered, and what was the description of the property that was endangered, and who were the owners of that property. If you can't provide that information, then go away. Stop wasting everybody's time, because ultimately, it's all about safety. And if I'm able to fly completely safely, it shouldn't matter what technical breaches there are of the regulations. That makes no difference, because those regulations are only there to produce safety. And if safety is a byproduct, then you can short circuit the whole thing. I'll fly safely, don't need the regulations. They're good advice, but they're not going to be things that I am slavishly compliant with. So there we go. Hopefully it means that I'm now free, totally free to do whatever the hell I like. And that means I'll have more fun in the hobby. And trust me, in a few years, if you want to keep flying models, you'll have to do the same thing. So I'm going to blaze the trail for you. We'll see what happens. No doubt there will be all sorts of claims and accusations. I don't really care. I'm 71 in a couple of months. What can you do to me that nature hasn't already done? So there we go, just bringing you up to date. Now, there's a few other things I've got planned for the channel. I'm going to be reviving my X-Jet project because there's just a little bit of diversity. If you're interested in that sort of thing, my jet engine development design work, I'll show you some of that as I go along and try to do that. But hard to TIG weld with my Parkinson's, but I'll give it a go. Nothing to lose except a few tungstens and a lot of time. And as I say, I'll be looking at regulation, my usual watchdog thing. I'll continue the watchdog outlook, keeping an eye on all the regulations that are proposed around the world and changes that are being made and where I think we're headed. Now, it's too late to head off. That horse is bolted. We're stuffed. We can't do anything to stop it. We've shown that we're a pushover. Regulators are taking advantage of that. And as I say, with the UK situation especially, it's just the hobby is looking pretty dire over there. But I'll keep you informed as to what's happening and give you some insights to what I think can be done to perhaps lessen the impact. Although it seems to me in the UK, the decisions have been made. I'll do that video this week. You don't want to miss that video because I point a few things out that I don't think anyone else has noticed. So there we go. Yeah, thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Now today is Saturday and the airfield is closed. It's closed because there's drag racing. I've been doing a lot of walking. Let me fill you in. I was feeling really bad for a while because I'd stopped exercising, and I find that my way of dealing with the problems I've got is exercise. And scientific research indicates that when you engage in a lot of exercise, your body releases endorphins, and endorphins promote the release of dopamine. And dopamine is an important part of dealing with the symptoms I have with the Parkinson's. So I do a lot of exercise and it makes me feel good. It makes me control my symptoms. Otherwise, it's a big regime of drugs and you feel crap. I stopped doing some exercise. I was feeling a bit down after the whole bloody fiasco with the council, and I started to feel really, really bad. So I have been working very hard to get back on even keel. I've been walking most days 10 kilometres, some days 15, yesterday 25 kilometres, which is in American money, what's that? It's about 14 miles or something, I don't know, in a day. So I've been going out to the airport, walking out to the airport a couple of times a day sometimes. That's a 10K round trip. And I went out yesterday and they're setting up ready to have drag racing today. Big drag racing. I thought, wow, that's fantastic. What better stuff to video than drag racing with a drone, you know? Lovely aerial shots of drag racing, and it looks like it's going to be a fine day. So I may go out and film the drag races with my drone. Now remember, the airfield's closed. It's no-tammed and closed for 3 days. So what better time to fly a drone at an airfield than when it's not an airfield, it's actually a drag strip. Makes sense, doesn't it? And I won't fly over people, I won't fly over people's property, so it's totally safe, 100% safe. No one's going to be endangered, no property's at risk. So if I go out and fly my drone, I should be able to get some nice footage for you to have a look at. And if the council doesn't like it, do I care? If CAA don't like it, do I care? No, I'm free now. I'm free. You can throw your dummy out of the pram. I don't give a damn. Just go and do what you have to do. And I'll just carry on flying safely and blazing the trail for future underground model flying, which is where we are headed. Okay guys, thank you so much for your time. I've got a lot to do today. Got to get going, got to do some more exercise today too. So I'll walk out the airfield and see what I can do. Anyway, thanks for watching guys. Stay tuned. There's a hell of a lot more coming and hopefully you'll find it enjoyable and entertaining. Yeah, one of those things. See you later guys.
Anybody tell you it's gone way too far? No, nothing gonna help you when it falls apart. The prophets and the preachers told you, but you covered your ears.